I am a 30-year-old woman who lives by myself in a fourth-floor apartment. One day, when I came home from work, I found the TV in my living room was on. I thought I had forgotten to turn it off before leaving for work, so I brushed it off. The next day, the same thing happened. I got home and found the TV was on again. This made me very scared because this time, I was certain that I had turned it off before leaving for work. I went upstairs and asked my landlord, an old lady, if she had entered my apartment with the spare key. She said no. She was an honest lady, and I believed she was telling the truth. She said she would keep an eye on the building and call the police if she saw any strangers lurking around. Everything was normal for the next 2 weeks until one day, I came home again to find the TV on, and someone had drank the beer I had stored in my fridge. I started to get even more scared now. I looked around my apartment but didn't find any signs of a break-in. I went upstairs and asked my landlord again. The old lady swore that she never entered my apartment. She said she would have someone install a security camera on the fourth-floor hallway. The following day, when I came home, I heard a sound coming from my bedroom. I was in shock. I knew that someone was in my bedroom. I left my apartment, called the police, and informed my landlord immediately. The police arrived at the building within 10 minutes. 2 officers went inside my apartment and brought out a young man who was handcuffed. It turned out he was a thief who had been lurking around the neighborhood and was looking for a chance to break into people's homes to steal. After the thief was caught, I finally felt relieved. However, this was not the end of the story. 3 days later, a police officer called me and told me something that made me feel uneasy. The officer said that the thief had admitted to entering my apartment to steal, but that was the only time he had been there. He claimed that he never turned on the TV or drank any beer while he was stealing. If what he said was true, then it meant that someone else had broken into my apartment, turned on the TV, and drank my beer. I decided to investigate. I went down to the police station and requested to speak with the thief. I wanted to see if he could provide any more information. During our conversation, the thief told me the following.
That day, I entered the building and searched for an apartment to break into. When I reached the 4th floor, I saw your mother about to enter the apartment. After she entered, the door slowly closed by itself. I knew this was my chance, so I rushed to be in front of the door and held it slightly open. When I heard the TV turn on inside, I knew your mother had started to watch TV. So, I sneaked in and hid in a storage space, waiting for a good opportunity to start stealing. After a while, I felt like your mother was asleep, so I decided to look around the apartment for valuable items. Suddenly, your mother stood up and left the apartment. Thinking it was a good chance to steal, I continued searching and went into your bedroom. That's when you came home and caught me.
After hearing the thief's confession, I was shocked. When I told him I lived alone, he seemed taken aback and then described the appearance of an old lady he had seen in the building. It became clear that he was referring to my landlord. I was outraged and stood up abruptly to leave the police station. I couldn't believe my trusted landlord had been the culprit all along. When I arrived back at my apartment, I was horrified to find the TV on yet again. I couldn't believe she had entered my apartment once again. Filled with anger, I stormed upstairs and pounded on my landlord's door. She opened it looking confused, and I immediately scolded her for repeatedly entering my apartment and lying to me. However, my landlord continued to deny ever having entered my apartment. She insisted that she respected the privacy of her tenants. I scolded her some more and shared the thief's confession with her. As she listened to the theft story, her face turned pale, and she murmured to herself,
"Maybe what he said was true."
I was confused about why she was saying that, but then I told her that when I got home today, the TV was on again, and it must have been her. She seemed to remember something and asked me if I knew how to view the video from the new security camera. I told her it shouldn't be too hard, and she pulled out her smartphone and asked me to find the video from around 3 p.m. that afternoon. After some time, I managed to find the video, and it showed my landlord walking toward my apartment, using the spare key to enter it. One thing that caught my attention was that she looked disoriented in the video, almost like a walking corpse. It gave me chills. Finally, my landlord revealed something that made everything fall into place. She explained that she was a sleepwalker, a fact that her late husband had always informed her, but she had never believed it since she felt nothing when she was asleep. It turned out that she always took a nap in the afternoon and started sleepwalking, often using the spare key to enter my apartment and turn on the TV, just sitting on the couch. Sometimes, she even drank the beer in the fridge without waking up. After staying in my apartment for a while, she would go back to her apartment, sometimes turning off the TV, sometimes not, before leaving. After my landlord explained her condition, she apologized and offered me 2 months rent-free. While I understood her situation, I couldn't shake the unease I felt knowing she had been entering my apartment without my knowledge. I decided to move out 4 months later. Looking back, it's definitely one of the strangest experiences I've ever had.